So I'm back testing cordless grease guns here with the Klutch, SnapOn 14.4, Flexzilla, Ingersoll Rand, and the SnapOn 18 volt, along with trying the Lock and Lube pressure release valve. For this testing, again going to be using the Lucas Red and Tacky here, and LGI number 2. But first we're going to go ahead and test the new pressure release valve here from Lock and Lube. Now this is the DeWalt version. Let's go ahead and see this in action. So we'll go ahead and take that pressure off here. And the pressure is dropping. So now it's easy to uncouple. So again, we've seen that pressure release here in action on the Kobalt. Pretty simple. All you're doing is mounting this, allowing for the pressure to leak off into the bulk fill port. So I installed the D version of this, which is meant for DeWalt, which should also line up on the Craftsman. Now I didn't test it on the Craftsman, but it did fit. Kobalt, on the other hand, it is a very, very tight fit to make this work. I installed the fitting here, and then I started the bolt, which holds this on, and had to work back and forth with using a rubber hammer on here, along with tighten this bolt. Now, again, I wouldn't recommend it, but you can see here I did make it work without modifying this component in any way. Now, one thing that's crazy is this is actually a knockoff, so I think Lock and Lube might want to get with Amazon on that. I don't know if they hold a patent on this, but you can see it's almost identical, and this one is actually for Milwaukee at about half the cost. So first up, we'll go ahead and capture no load flow, and we'll go ahead and run this for 10 seconds. So converting that to ounces per minute, the Makita, Kobalt, and Hart are still on top. Then we have the SnapOn 18 volt now. This is running a 5 amp hour because they don't offer a battery in 1.5 to 2.5, but it is slotting under the M18, followed by the Klutch. And at the bottom, we find the Flexzilla, the Ingersoll Rand, and the SnapOn 14.4. So I also did flow testing under load. So a hydraulic relief here, which is set to 1,500 psi, with the hose pre-filled with grease. So with that, we have the Kobalt on top here, followed by Makita, and then the Craftsman. Again, the SnapOn 18 volt slotting in under the M18, the Klutch under the Lincoln, and at the end, the Flexzilla, my older SnapOn 18 volt, the IR, and the SnapOn 14.4. So for high pressure testing, I'm going to be using the same test setup here I used in the previous videos. Klutch 4 amp hour on low. Again, right around 6. Flexzilla with the 1.5. Ingersoll ran with the 5 amp hour. Again, around that 5,000. SnapOn 14.4 with the 2.5. So just over 5,000 there. SnapOn 18 volt, 5 amp hour on low. Looking at max pressure using a 1.5 to 2.5 amp hour battery. Here we have the Makita, M18, and Ridgid on top, with the Flexzilla falling under the Ryobi, Klutch under the M12 here, SnapOn 14.4 under my old SnapOn 18 volt, and then the IR. Max pressure using a 4 to 6 amp hour battery, Makita on top, Metabo there, now keep in mind that's the one that blew apart, and then we have the M18. Now the SnapOn 18 volt slots under the M12, followed by the Klutch here, and then the IR. So when you look at the data from the Klutch, running multiple different batteries, in low and high, what's surprising here is there's not much difference in pressure. Whereas when we look at the Snap-on 18 volt, the pressure actually doubles if you're using low range versus high. So coming in last, going to be the Snap-on 14.4, single speed on-off trigger, vent valve for priming, pressure relief, bulk fill port, and a secondary output. Long hose here, but it does not have a holder. And what's crazy is my old 18 volt Snap-on grease gun actually outperformed this, with it being made in Taiwan with a tool only MSRP of $400. Next, the Ingersoll Rand, again single speed, on-off trigger. On the front, we have the same deal here with the relief, the vent, and the bulk fill, along with the second output there. Kit-wise, it would come with a 2.5, and I also tested it with the 5 amp hour, which surprisingly I didn't see much of a difference at all. Again, performed a little bit better than the 14.4 there, and it does have a cheaper MSRP of $250 for tool only, and is also made in Taiwan. Next, the Snap-on 18 volt on-off trigger, but it does have a high-low gearbox here, along with a overload light indicator, and the front is a little bit different with the bulk fill here on this side, the vent on the opposite side, and again, the same setup here for outputs. Along with that, it does have a holder here for the hose, and is made in China with an MSRP of just over $400. So quite pricey there for the performance. Flexzilla on-off trigger, single speed here. Kit-wise comes with a 1.5. So on the front, we have a push button bleed, a bulk fill port, the output of course, and then the pressure relief here on the bottom. It also has a light up on front, with a switch here on the handle. The flexible hose, which they are known for, which is going to perform better in cold conditions. Hose holder on either side there. But one thing that makes this unique is the easy load here, along with the shaft lock for the handle. So we can push this button, and we don't have any threads here, we just have a locking ring. So same thing for installing. You have to push the button back down, and then it locks in. Now there is quite a bit of play. Of course, it's not threaded in, it's just pushed in and held by that locking ring. Overall, a couple nice features there, again with that easy load, the flexible hose, but at the end of the day, the performance was pretty poor here. Clutch, actually quite shocking here. Brushless motor, on-off trigger with a trigger lock. So on top, we do have a little screen here with a battery indicator, and also it displays the grams there, or ounces. So if you hold the second button, we change to ounces. If we want to clear it, we hold the light button. And if we want to switch between high and low, it's just a simple press of that second button. Very small little light on the front. Your bleeder, secondary exit port, has that same shaft holder like the Flexzilla. Hose holder here, which you can see is not the greatest, but you can move that also to the opposite side. So overall, a pretty good performance considering the price of $130. And it is, of course, made in China. So overall, ranking-wise, we have cost, flow, max PSI, if it has a variable speed trigger, if it has multiple speeds selectable, a grease counter, like the Milwaukee or the Ridgid have, a display of the ounces dispensed, like the Kobalt, Klutch, and Lincoln, if it's brushless, and then we have the total. With the Kobalt here on top, followed by the Makita, and then the Craftsman, Ridgid, and Klutch. Rounding out the bottom, though, we have the DeWalt, the Flexzilla, Snap-on 18 volt, Ingersoll Rand, and the Snap-on 14.4. So yeah, there you have it. Overall, yeah, the Kobalt doesn't have the highest pressure, but with all those features, I put it in first place here, definitely with the brushless motor, the indicator for how many ounces are dispensed, 3 speeds, and it's decently priced with a hard case, followed by the Craftsman here, which has a variable speed trigger and 2 speeds here. Then the Makita, which I've been using for a while now, which works pretty good, has the highest pressure output, and coming in 4th place, and overall number 1 from the ones tested here today, is the Klutch. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll leave the links below, like normal. Let us know if you have any of these and how they've worked for you, along with that specs table like normal at the end here. Thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you on the next one. We have the brand, the MSRP of tool only, the model of the tool only, the kit price, the kit model, weight without battery, where it's made, warranty, hose length, if it has a variable speed trigger, if it has multiple speed settings, so either a gearbox or electronic speed setting, a grease counter like the Ridgid or the Milwaukee, or if it displays ounces on a screen like the Kobalt, Klutch, and Lincoln.